Hey, Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, leaders remind us to mask up as the state continues to reopen. Rick Pitino says college hoops should pause until 2021, and we'll go in depth on a Louisville police shooting. All that and more is next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome to Hey, Kentucky, along with LEX 18 Sports Director Keith Farmer. How are you doing tonight, Keith?
Doing great because, I got my new mask in, and so I'm ready for football season.
Okay, I love it. My husband got me a blue one, and that was not easy for him to do, by the way. Let's get going. Yesterday, Fayette County saw its highest one-day increase in COVID-19 cases, excluding that outbreak at the Federal Medical Center. Amid headlines like that, we're getting reminders to mask up. Health experts like Dr. Kevin Cavanaugh of Health Watch USA says he's frustrated to see so many people not wearing one. He says a simple mask is one of the best tools we have right now to blunt the pandemic. And the situation concerns Cavanaugh even more as Kentucky's reopening continues to expand, this week allowing bars into the mix, even as other states have paused or scaled back their plans.
I mean, if they're not wearing masks in the grocery store, they're probably not going to wear them in a bar when they're trying to drink at the same time. We still have our heads in the sand thinking it won't happen here in Kentucky. We need to go on living just like we always have. And that's anything but the truth.
Coach Cal is also getting in on the message to wear a mask in public, sending out a Twitter video yesterday. Of course, he's joined by leaders like Lexington Mayor Linda Gordon and Governor Beshear in stressing that message, particularly ahead of a busy holiday weekend. And Keith, I just wish it was this thing that people realize, like if we all did it, everything would probably get back to more normal sooner.
I kind of think it goes back to when this whole thing first started and we were told masks won't help. And so I think people just got it in their minds that okay, now they're telling us something different. But I mean, it's everybody telling us, CDC, WHO, everybody, doctors saying it will help. And so be a bigger man. It's okay to wear a mask.
Yeah, it definitely won't hurt. That's the other thing. There's not a downside. So let's just do it. Some activists now say that having the Kentucky Derby this year would be a slap in the face of racial justice. They are calling for a boycott of the September event until the officers involved in Breonna Taylor's killing and the judge who approved the no-knock warrant that they were serving are held accountable.
We need systematic change. Thank you for taking the statues down. Thank you for, the scholarships. Thank you for, we appreciate
all the
that.
Breonna tributes.
Yes, we do. We appreciate
We love
that
it.
all. But we need change for my daughter, for the kids, for our future. We need real systematic change.
Organizers say two pandemics are going on right now, COVID-19 and racial injustice. So they believe the city of Louisville should sit in silence on Derby weekend. And Keith, I have said before on this show, I will say it again, I think the officers need to be arrested. I don't know that not having the Derby helps that cause.
I don't think it does either. Boy, would it make a big statement, though, if that did happen. But I think that, Churchill Downs fought so hard just to get this race moved, to be able to have it again as they have for years and years. And I think it's going to be tough to get them to budge.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. I think the two are totally unrelated. All right, Attorney General Daniel Cameron says his office is defending a Kentucky law used to combat drug addiction. Casey's law is being challenged as unconstitutional in the State Court of Appeals. It was passed in 2004 and is named for Matthew Casey Wethington, a 23-year-old who died of a heroin overdose after his parents tried to secure involuntary drug treatment for him.
These lives are someone's children, they are someone's parent, they are loved. People who feel hopeless and helpless can find hope and freedom from addiction through treatment, even when it is mandatory by court order.
Ever since its passage, the constitutionality of Casey's law has been a topic of debate among those in heroin treatment circles, including some who are tasked with enforcing it. The question is whether people with extreme addiction issues can be forced to give up the right to govern their own lives. One sheriff in Ohio says he'd like to see that state's version of the law amended to include a doctor's recommendation and several other caveats. But Keith, this is a well-intentioned law for sure.
You know, I can speak on this one because I've had it hit within my family before, and we lost my cousin to heroin, and it's horrible. I mean, it's a fight, you know, that goes on, and I can't see how this is wrong to, you know, to help get them help and to at least give it a shot at breaking through this horrible drug.
Yeah, I totally agree. Turning to Kentucky basketball now. The Cats may be solidifying their position with 3 5-star recruiting targets for the class of 2021. UK has been seen as a favorable destination for Paulo Banchero, Jaden Hardy, and Brandon Huntley Hatfield for months now. But Corey Evans of Rivals.com has taken it a step further by projecting all 3 to Lexington. Hardy has long been seen as a heavy Kentucky lead, and Evans says the 6'4" guard out of Las Vegas is the likeliest 2020 commit. But if your last name is Huntley Hatfield and you have it hyphenated, don't you have to come to Lexington to play?
In Hatfield, right? Yeah, I think you have to, and I think this is all good news for Kentucky. I think we're seeing this resurgence of the recruiting trail for Coach Calipari and his staff. It just seems like, especially with this year's class that's coming in, a lot of 5 stars, and it's seeming like it's the place to be again. And so I think they're doing a phenomenal job, especially given the circumstances they're going through with this pandemic.
Yeah, and when will we see them play? As for this upcoming season, former Louisville coach Rick Pitino has a suggestion: push it back to January and only play the league games. Pitino, who will return to the sidelines at Iona, voiced his opinion in a tweet yesterday, saying the NCAA should delay until 2021 to, quote, buy some more time for a vaccine and to get things under control. The health of my players and staff is what's really important, end quote. And Keith, I don't think Coach Pitino is the only one kind of putting this out there as a possibility.
I think I'm going to have to agree with him on this one. I mean, I would miss those incredible preseason games, at least some of them. We obviously get the cupcakes too, so we wouldn't miss those. But I think it would be good maybe just to wait a little longer, let them get on campus, see how things go, and keep them safe before they start a season, and then make it a shortened season. And what's the part that counts the most? And that is the conference time of the year.
And honestly, some is better than none. So if we can figure out a way to ensure that we at least have some, let's do that. Now, to our weekly feature on Hey Kentucky, What's the Beef? Sponsored by the Kentucky Beef Council. First up, House Republican leaders are backing 2 recent lawsuits filed against the use of executive orders by Governor Beshear's administration during the pandemic. The lawsuits came from Egg Commissioner Ryan Quarles, along with the Scott County Orchard, and another one from Florence Speedway, a northern Kentucky restaurant and child care center. Meanwhile, Democratic Senate nominee Amy McGrath is going on the offensive after her narrow primary win. She's challenging Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to disclose what he knows about intelligence assessments suggesting that Russia offered bounties for killing U.S. troops in Afghanistan. And that's tonight's edition of What's the Beef? Up next on Hey Kentucky, we go in depth on controversies involving the Louisville Police Department. Investigative reporter Jared Bennett joins us to talk about one family's struggle for answers in a deadly shooting involving LMPD officers that happened months before Breonna Taylor and David McAtee. Stay with us.